are at Disneyland for pineapples,
Really looks
aka
like
Dole.
1, 2.
Hello from the Dole Plantation. We just got off the bus and we're glad to get off the bus. It was like an hour and a half-ish drive. Dole Plantation, there's 3 different activities you can do while you're here. One's the maze, one's the walking tour, and one's the bus. Not bus, it's a train. Before we begin, my favorite fun fact is that Jim Dole once bought the island of Lana'i, and it became the world's largest pineapple plantation. But that was back in the early 1900s. Today, spoiler alert, we would not recommend the Dole Plantation as a highlight on your Hawaiian vacation. It's an overpriced tourist trap. Okay, now let's begin and see why. Just like any good business, you start by entering the gift shop. And this is a large gift shop, and it was bustling with people. But I admit they had adorable items. But this shirt in adult size was $45. I couldn't do it. It was dyed with pineapple though, so that was cool. Usually I'd save the gift shop part of the video for last, but there were at least 3 distinct parts of the gift shop, and you have to walk through all of it to get to the Pineapple Whip and the main grounds. So, through the gift shop we begin. Lots of cool and unique things, but we finally made it through, which inevitably reminded me of...
The only way out is through the perfume department.
Now, doesn't this look like Disneyland for pineapples? Or Disneyland for pineapples. We made it outside. We're gonna ride the train, and we're gonna go on the walking tour. You can get both tickets for what, $18.75?
$18.75.
Yep. Okay, here we are. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness indeed. That was the line for the train. But right now, we are in line for the tickets. And yes, it was $18.75 for the train/garden combo ticket. And from the looks of it, everyone was most excited for the train. But wait, and I literally mean wait, because the first line to the train was only one part of the line. They then move you to a secondary waiting area, and we waited there for like 30 minutes or more. And since we made it to the second part, we thought we would just make it to the next train, but we did not. We missed the cutoff. So we watched that train leave, and we waited for the next one to come. But the train did look pretty neat. However cool it may look, the ride did feel like, well, an advertisement because of the songs they kept playing of a Hawaiian band. Don't get me wrong, the songs were good, but they essentially said, please buy this CD in our gift shop, instead of, hey, if you like this song we're playing for the atmosphere it provides, it's available for purchase. And since I'm talking about the audio, it was hard to hear. To hear the pre-recorded narrator well, you would have to sit right under the speaker. You get to see some cool plants like bananas, avocados, breadfruit, but they didn't seem well maintained, and sometimes you could see the overripe fruit just falling off and rotting away. I will say it was neat once we finally made it to the pineapples. Harvesting pineapple is difficult with machinery, so it's still done by hand. The first crop takes 18 to 20 months to be ready for harvest. The next crop takes another 15 months. Planting them isn't any easier as it is done by hand as well. A working pineapple plantation will plant between 27,000 and 33,000 plants per acre. The soil here is incredibly red because it's decomposing volcanic ash, filling the soil with oxidized iron. Another thing I was disappointed was that the train tracks for the majority of the time ran side by side, so you didn't see anything new from the first part to the way back to the station. Plus, the metal railing at the very end was starting to decay and needed at least a fresh coat of paint. We did get to see a wild pig eating some fruit. Overall, for the time spent waiting versus the time spent on the train, I didn't find it worth the price of that ticket. Okay, off the train and time for Pineapple Whip before the garden tour. There are 2 sides, so remember to pick the less busy line because the other side was actually pretty hidden. Okay, we are eating our Pineapple Whip. Let me see your cup, because your cup is cooler than mine. We paid $7.50 and we split it in half, and it's pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You sound very fully well. It's pretty good. And we're watching all the cats and chickens. I'm finishing up my Dole soft serve, and the wooden spoon makes the pineapple taste like wood.
Yeah, it really did.
What do you think? Oh, I wouldn't give it like. I wouldn't give it that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right in the middle. Like, it tastes like wood. You're like, oh, that's pineapple. You're like, no. But the signs are cool. So that makes up for it? Maybe. My favorite part was learning about Jim Dole, who arrived in Hawaii in 1899. He bought 61 acres, and the timing was perfect as the process of canning food was perfected, and he could now send fresh pineapple over long distances. He opened the first cannery in 1901. At that time, pineapple was considered a desirable exotic fruit, but few Westerners knew what to do with it. So, between advertising recipes and holding contests, canned pineapple was popularized. For nearly 70 years, the island of Lana'i supplied more than 75% of the world's pineapple, becoming widely known as the Pineapple Island. So now we're in the gardens, and we're hoping this is worth it, because so far we missed visiting the North Shore to come to here, and so far it's been a little disappointing. They're making people pay for this? The gardens were not extensive. It needed to be free. It was too expensive for how small the garden was, and some of the plants I literally saw while waiting outside of Pearl Harbor. So they're not all that unique. But also, walking through the garden made me feel sad because of all the old equipment. It seemed as though it was just rusting away. In a couple years, I don't see how that equipment will still be there, as it was almost rusted completely through now. Behind me is the botanical gardens. It's a lot smaller than I thought. And I was really expecting at least some pineapples in there. And then over here is all their machinery graveyard. Everything's rusting away. Overall, I don't know. It's cool to say you've been here, but you gotta pay a lot to look at it for nothing, really. Okay, let's brighten it up by some photos of the Hawaiian plants. Because it is still Hawaii, and Hawaii still has cool plants. Also, I did see and hear a very cool bird. We made our way out, and it would be okay if you decided to stop for maybe an hour and shop the gift shop, see the tiny pineapple garden and sign, which was part of the free area, and maybe try a pineapple whip if you don't mind it being overpowered by the flavor of the spoon. I wouldn't pay for anything. I don't highly recommend making this a half-day excursion, but rather a short stop on the way to North Shore. And now we are leaving Dole, headed back to Waikiki. Hawaii has much more to offer, such as our stop tomorrow at Hanoma Bay to go snorkeling. Now that was amazing. Subscribe for more travel videos. Safe travels, everyone.